students, but even if you are not a student, you know how it is. You go to Araisat, I don't know whether you have been to Araisat, and you come back by ferry, you have to wait 3 hours on Sunday. That is infrastructure. We must have a bill to Araisat. This is very important. The second thing that China built is the BRICS, or New Development Bank. On 15 July 2014, the first day of the 6th summit of BRICS held in Fortaleza, Brazil, 5 BRICS countries signed the long-anticipated document to create the 100 billion BRICS Development Bank. And the reserve currency pool was another 100 billion. Why is this so important? Remember I told you BRIC countries. I showed you the GDP of BRICS, 4 countries. Now the S is South Africa, because we don't want to leave Africa out, So Africa, South Africa is also an important country, although not in the top 10. So here you have these 5 new countries, BRICS countries, building a bank. So what does it mean? Russia is there also. So, we Asians, we don't want to quarrel. Of course, Russia has quarreled with the West about Ukraine, but this is not a lecture on politics. But I'm saying that Russia is a member of the BRIC Bank, because Russia is among the BRIC countries. And this also Cambodia can benefit, because you can borrow from this BRICS Bank also. So it's nice, you can borrow from so many uncles, if you have no money, you can go to BRICS, you can go to here, you can go to there and borrow money. And then maybe your children will have to pay back. So then now comes Obama. I showed you Obama shake hands with Xi Jinping. He went to Asia in November, last November. He went to the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit in Beijing in China. That's when this handshake took place, where Xi Jinping was on this side showing camera here, and Obama has to come here from that side. That is in Beijing. Then he went to Myanmar for the ASEAN Summit and East Asia Summit in Myanmar. ASEAN is the 10 Southeast Asian countries, as you I'm sure know. Now, in 2012, Cambodia was the host of ASEAN. Every year it changes. Cambodia, Obama also came here for the ASEAN Summit in 2012. In 2013 was in Brunei, and last year, Naypyidaw is the new capital of Myanmar, or how do you say in Cambodian? Burma or Myanmar? Burma. The capital of Burma, now they call Myanmar, and it is, Obama was there also. The third one is the Group of 20 Summit to Brisbane, Australia. Group of 20, you remember I told you, the Group of 7, we are the world, but of course they are not the world, as I told you. From the top 7, only 3 are from the Group of 7. But now there is a group of 20, which is really on top of the world. That includes Australia, Indonesia, China, of course, and so on. And they met in Australia. So Obama went to all 3 summits. Now, here is a little complicated graph, but I want to show you. There are 3, because the crux of this lecture is about economic integration. What does economic integration mean? They have a trade pact. What does trade pact do? If you go to shop, and I keep saying Aorma, or you can go to Lucky, or you can go to Satnai. If you buy goods from Thailand or goods from Vietnam, it costs money, because there is what they call a tariff. Import tariff means if you import something from Thailand, you have to pay tariff, import duty to the government. But if ASEAN becomes a reality, ASEAN Economic Community, then, of course, the tariff barriers will be down, 0. So it's very important for you, because you as a student, you said, who cares, about ASEAN, this and that. You care, because if you go to shopping, in Satnai on, you get cheaper goods from Thailand because the tariff, the import duty will be, in the new agreement will be zero. So the three trade pacts are important to bring down the tariff. And the three of them are very complicated, but I show you in one graph. The FTATP is the free trade area of the Asia Pacific. It's 21 members, pushed by China during the APEC meeting, the famous meeting where he and Obama shake hands. China managed for the APEC to agree to have a study of FTATP. FTATP consists of all the countries here. So let's, I don't want to confuse you. I just want to let you know that what it means. What is important for Cambodia is the third one. So America is pushing the TPP, Trans-Pacific Partnership. It's 12 members, pushed by the USA and excluding China. You will see here. The TPP is this one here. It includes some ASEAN countries. This is pushed by the US, but exclude China and exclude Cambodia also. Now, the third one is the RCEP, the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, which is ASEAN. You know, ASEAN plus its dialogue partner. So the RCEP was born in Cambodia during the summit of 2012. It is a idea pushed by Japan, but born in Cambodia. So you can be proud. RCEP, it will be a free trade pact. As I said, free trade means you get cheaper goods from Thailand and so on. But it's not just ASEAN, but RCEP includes its dialogue partners. So RCEP is a free trade agreement of the 10 ASEAN countries. This is the flag of ASEAN here. ASEAN is this area here. Indonesia, my country, is the biggest, sorry to say, but it is the biggest. And includes dialogue partners, China, Korea, Japan, Australia, and New Zealand, and India. But as you notice, exclude the USA. So this is now the tensions. For Cambodia, it's important. It doesn't matter USA or not. You know, you want to have cheap commodities from USA also. But this is now what I mentioned, the big fight, the dynamic interplay between America and China. China is pushing this. Well, actually, as I said, it was born in Cambodia. But all these schemes are still in the making, you know, being made. And once again, as I said, the benefit for you is if there is free trade, it costs less to buy goods imported from abroad. So once again, this is RCEP. So for you, the most important concept is RCEP, you know. FTATP, TPP, forget it, you know. Otherwise you ABCD everything. So now here is ASEAN, as you can see. This is ASEAN membership. ASEAN is the 10 Southeast Asian countries. Laos, Cambodia, of course, Brunei, Indonesia, Vietnam, Singapore, Myanmar, Malaysia, and Thailand. And this is the 10 countries of Southeast Asia. We consider we are part member of ASEAN. Cambodia was before not member of ASEAN. Until 1992, this is when I came to Cambodia. That's when Cambodia started to, the concept of ASEAN Economic Community was built in 1992. During the period of 1980 to 1990, politically ASEAN were 6 countries only, and they opposed the People's Republic of Cambodia. This is not a political lecture, I just want to remind you. But now Cambodia, of course, is a full member of ASEAN, And as I said, in 2012, Cambodia actually was the host of ASEAN here in Phnom Penh. So you can be very proud, that of course they have many facilities now in Cambodia, like Kok Beach, and all the important areas. So what is the objective of AEC, Asian Economic Community? To transform ASEAN into a single market of 607 million people with free movement of goods, services, investment, skilled labor, and free flow of capital. So if ASEAN 10 economic community becomes a reality, you can just go to Thailand and work there, or Thai people can come here without any problem. Now, of course, this is still ideal, an ideal for the future, because just 2 days ago, the Minister of Mustafa of Malaysia, who will be the head of ASEAN this year, says that 2015, this year definitely ASEAN Economic Community will be established, but not the free movement that you can go to Thailand. I am ASEAN, so when I arrive here at the airport in Po Chen Tong, they ask me, where are you from? Happy Indonesia. Then you need no visa, he said. You can stay 1 month. But if ASEAN becomes one community, you can stay not only 1 month, but you can work there. But according to this Malaysian minister, this is still a dream of the future. So what will be achieved this year? There will be the lowering of tariffs to 0. As I said, tariffs makes the goods imported from abroad more expensive. So if the tariffs from Malaysia and Thailand is 0, you get cheaper goods when you buy commodities. So that's because you always ask, what is in for me? The government just talks blah, blah, blah about issue economic community. But it in fact affects you personally. If Asian Infrastructure Bank build a railroad, it affects you because you can go to Point Pad by railroad. So all this that I'm talking today will affect you personally. Now the Myanmar ASEAN Summit last year, November, that ASEAN has implemented 80% of missions under the AAC blueprint, 80%. However, there is still a problem. Because there is not only tariff barriers, but there is a problem about CLVM countries, Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, and Myanmar. These are the 4 countries that are still the poorer among the ASEAN. The 6 on top are very much more advanced. Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, and Brunei. So for the poor countries like Cambodia, the problem is not just the tariff, but if you want to import something, you go to the airport or you go to the port of Sihanoukville, and you have procedures, very difficult procedures to import something. Maybe you have to go to this office, that office. Whereas in Singapore, if you export and import, everything goes very smoothly. This is called logistics. The quality of logistics vary among the countries of ASEAN. Customs brokerage. The customs here can be very difficult sometimes. Well, in the airport, it's quite all right. I come in and they just look at me. Maybe I look so poor, I have nothing in my bag. But if customs suspect you, you open and you maybe smuggle in some computer or something. But customs brokerage, freight forwarding, and express delivery. When you want to buy something from Singapore, express delivery is very fast. But if you buy from Cambodia, it takes time, and the logistics is poor. The logistics service in Cambodia, in Singapore is tough, but now Cambodia and Myanmar is not so good. In many ASEAN countries, restrictive regulations hamper the delivery of high-quality logistics. Sometimes too many regulations. I'm sure, well, you are still students, but if you have to import something from the airport, you know what I mean. You have to go from here, and then there, and then, okay, there, please, okay, there again, and all that, of course, costs money. So the target date of 2015 must be seen as ASEAN as a milestone, as I said, rather than the end in the continuous process of integration. As I said, Minister Mustafa from Malaysia 2 days ago assured in Davos in Switzerland during the World Economic Forum that there will be an ASEAN economic community established in 2015. But he says it will be a freer movement of goods and services. You know English enough. Freer is not the same as free. So he says not 100% free movement of goods and services, but freer. So it's more a symbolic target. The real target will probably be achieved in the year 2000, he says. Meaning you can go to Thailand and study there, or you can, if you are skilled labor, you can work in Thailand at higher wages and so on, but that's only in 2020. As I said, when I went to Europe, you know, you go from Holland to Germany, from Germany to France. At the border, they don't even have border posts. There's no customs. It's like one country, and they all use the euro. Of course, Europe is in trouble of Greece, but that's beyond this lecture. So we are ideally, what I want to say here is that you must think ASEAN. You must think not only Cambodia. Cambodia is small, but if you are united in ASEAN, 608 million people, you become a very powerful bloc. And the whole world, as I said, look at ASEAN as like a beautiful girl. They all want to fight, you know, let me get that girl. Now, take for instance textile. China's factory, every year the textile industry, they increase their wages 14%. So now in China, the workers in the textile factory get $700 a month. 10 years ago, maybe the same as Cambodia. Now Cambodia, compared to, in Vietnam, is $250. Cambodia is $130, which is, of course, a recent achievement after the demonstrations and so on. So what does it mean when we have ASEAN integration? Maybe factories in China, a textile factory, want to move to Cambodia, where the labor is cheaper. You know, $700 compared to Cambodia, $130. So ASEAN integration will be very beneficial for Cambodia until your textile workers get $700 like in China. But that will be still a dream, because textile workers, the government cannot just say, oh, textile workers, now you get $700. It's easy to dream that. But the textile factories are owned by private companies. And the private companies have to agree to increase the wages. That's why recently you have this trouble, you know, about raising wages. You know, somebody says, oh, we must raise the wages. Yeah, but you cannot do that without the companies, because this is a free enterprise economy. It's not communism where you say, okay, increase the wages. Even China officially is communist, but the textile factories in China are owned by private enterprise. But because of market forces, Chinese have to increase their wages every year 14%. Now Chinese workers get $700. Can you imagine? That's why I said the progress of China is not just GDP, and not all kinds of PPP, but it is real. The Chinese textile workers get $700 a month. Can you imagine if your brothers and sisters who work in the textile factory can get $700? But in the meantime, if ASEAN is in integration, factories from China could move here, and that will increase the number of laborers to be established. Because if ASEAN is one free trade area, you can move goods without tariff from one place to the other. Okay, so now the final stretch of my lecture is Cambodia. I've already told you what it means for Cambodia several times, but now specifically looking at Cambodia. Cambodia is now 14.9 million, maybe a little bit more now, because this is last year. The GDP per PPP, 37 billion. Remember I told you China is 17 billion. GDP per capita, you know, is US 2,494. Now that is very low compared to China or the United States, but there is a big but. It has increased very fast in Cambodia because the gross domestic product, you will see in green here, you will see the gross domestic product has increased tremendously in Cambodia. Since 1994 is when I am here, the ambassador of the UN. So not because of me, but because of peace. Cambodia gross domestic product has increased year after year, and this is the until 2011. The red one is when there is a decrease. In 2009 there is a decrease because there is a worldwide economic crisis caused by a mortgage crisis in the United States. When the US have a crisis, of course, Cambodia also has a crisis because all your textiles that you export to the United States come to a stop. So that's why in 2009, but Cambodia recovered very quickly. And this is the thing. Now, I know that under the question and answer, I'm sure you will ask about poverty. Now, according to the World Bank figures, not many Widyono, the Cambodian poor dropped from 53% to 20%. So there is a drop in poverty. However, what I mean is a drop because people who used to work on the farm, they work in the textile mill. That's an increase in income suddenly. And they have iPhones and they go home. You know, the first thing they buy is an iPhone, these girls. And between 2004 and 2011, according to the World Bank, the Cambodian poverty rate has dropped a lot. But of course, you will say, well, they are still very poor. Yes, there is still a lot of poverty in Cambodia. So you can ask me questions whether I can answer or not. It depends. Now, look at the three engines of growth. Real GDP growth again in Cambodia this is every year the rate of growth. More than 7%, as the World Bank says, is one of the highest in the world. You know it from your own personal life. Many of them have more. Just look every morning when I try to come here, the traffic jam, because everybody has a motor or tuk-tuk, you know, and there is a lot more income than before. So this is the real GDP growth, and there are three engines of growth in Cambodia. One is agriculture, and this checkered one is industry, and the brown one is services. So as I said, the textile dropped in 2009 because of the big recession in America. But agriculture exports is rice, of course. Cambodia exports now a lot of rice to the world. And rice production has gone up in Cambodia. And it's one of the countries, it used to be the rice bowl of Asia, and then during the Meroes, it was finished, all destroyed. But now again, Cambodia is the rice bowl. And tourism, of course, many of you who go to Siem Reap, but even in Phnom Penh, you will see the amount of tourists, number of tourists come again to Cambodia, coming to Cambodia has increased a lot. When you go to Siem Reap, you will find this very important aspect. So going back to the Xi Jinping and China and so on, what does it mean to Cambodia? China now, loans and grants from China to Cambodia, 1992 have amounted to $2.7 billion. Chinese projects include hydroelectric plants. As I said, they are going to build a railroad. They are going to have highways, and also, of course, this one, Chinese investment includes textiles, but includes also, as I mentioned, hydroelectric plants and so on. Sometimes China, the investment and loans are blurred. But the distinguish between loans and grants and investment is this. Loans and grants are given as aid to Cambodia. The best is grant. Grant is you don't have to pay back. Loans, you have to pay back somewhere in the future. So if I give you to borrow $50, I said, but you pay back, right? Then of course that is loan. The grant is I give you $50 and I say goodbye, thank you. Now investment is when China come here and invest and they expect to make a profit from that investment. That's number two. But number three is also China is now a leading trading partner of Cambodia. Last year, we accounted to $2.9 billion US, and expected to reach $5 billion by the year 2000. So, two-way trade from Cambodia to China and from China to Cambodia is also amounting to a lot. And last but not least, the number of tourists coming from China is now number one. Vietnam is number two, but Vietnam, they just go from private, to Ho Chi Minh City. They come by bus. They come by Vietnamese bus, and they eat and start mine, $3, $2, Google, Satruk, Samtruk. So they don't spend much money, but Chinese tourists spend more money. And that's number. So China is everywhere. Of course, the question is, how do you deal with this Chinese influx? Number one, many of you told me you're studying Chinese now because it's an important language to know. You get more jobs also if you know Chinese. Now, that's the end of it. And I ask for questions now. Just a second, I want to show you the book that I wrote. It's called Dancing in Shadows. And outside you can buy in Khmer this language from real, I think. From real Kalam. So this is for CKS, not for me. I don't get anything. If you want to buy the English one in Total Mall, it's $4, but not this one. You can ask in Khmer and then he will answer if I don't understand. Check Khmer tik.
Good morning, professors, and this runner that you actually spend time telling your very knowledgeable presentation to us. And this very interesting point talking about AEC, and you have talked about candidates about it, but yeah, I would like to know more about it, especially for young Cambodians like what would be the benefits to the young Cambodian, just like me and the other volunteers, and I would like to make the theory in a more realistic way and economical way.
You said the benefits of IEC for young people. The last question, you have one more question.
Yeah, I have more, but can you show this one first? Yeah.
Okay, one by one, yeah. Okay. Yes, as I told you, number one, you go to Satmai or to Eon, all the goods from Vietnam and Thailand and all ASEAN countries will be lower in price, because if ASEAN Economic Community is established, all the tariffs go to zero. Now later, if the progresses, if you want to, you are a skilled labor, but this is not this year. Later, you can work in Thailand, you can work in Vietnam, you can work in Malaysia, according to the blueprint, and you can get a work permit easily. Now it's not that easy. As I said, when I arrived here in Pojendong, they said, Mapi Indonesia, okay, no visa, but you can stay in Mekah, only 1 month. But if ASEAN economic community is a reality, you can go to Vietnam or go to Thailand and you can work there. So that's the benefit, because if there's no job here, the third benefit, as I said, if there's no tariff, factories, this is not for you, but for your sisters from the rural areas, there will be more jobs. If textile factory moved from China, where the wages is $700, to Cambodia, where the wages is $130. So there are many benefits directly concerned with joining ASEAN Economic Community. In Europe, of course, the people have to vote to join the European Union. Here you don't vote, the governments just decide. But the business community, they are pushing for this. Because for the business it's very important. If you open a factory in Cambodia now, you only can benefit the Cambodia. But if ASEAN is one market, you can build this factory here to serve 600 million people. So the factories here becomes bigger. And for you, there will be more jobs also. Is that answer your question? Or
Yeah.
Not yet. Okay. Yes.
Thank you, Professor. Your assumption is that China is going to continue to grow, and it sort of has no limits. But China has huge environmental problems, with things like air pollution. It has problems with how it controls information. Could a country like India, for example, which has a freer flow of information, maybe overtake China at some point if the brakes come onto China's economy?
Very good question. So let us first look at China and India until today. India, as you know, also grew fast, but on a different model. The Chinese model is exporting to the US and also importing American factories. As you know, are you American or no?
Australia.
Australian, but you know Mitt Romney, have you heard of Mitt Romney? He's an American candidate for president. He became a millionaire by exporting all his factories to China. India has a different model, as I said. India exports brain power. They have in Bangalore, in Bangalore in India, they have Infosys. So what Infosys is doing is they import from America the brain power. America has a lot of work. As I said, the factories of Mitt Romney, etc., were moved to China, but the brain power factory moved to Bangalore. I'll give you an example. Thomas Friedman is a well-known writer. He went to Bangalore, and he played golf with an Indian partner. So Mitt Romney says, this partner, Indian partner says, oh, we do in Infosys, I can do your income tax. that is income tax in the United States is very complicated. You need a company to do it for you. So Mitt Romney says, no, not Mitt Romney. Tom Friedman says, oh, very good. I have already, thank you very much, I'm in Chicago, I have my company doing my income tax. So the partners, the Indian man says, yeah, but that company exports the work to me, so I'm doing your income tax, and you was shocked. So what I'm saying, to the Cambodian students is that China gets the factories from America moved to China and create jobs. India has the brain power, so in America a lot of work with the computer is exported to India. Now, as the gentleman purposely asked, can China continue that forever? Number one, no. So what China, the Xi Jinping is now trying to change the model. Instead of just receiving American factories to China, which has a limit, they now want to build on the domestic market. So consumer goods. Because don't forget, I show you all this beautiful picture of China, gross domestic product, blah, blah, blah. But what is in it for the Chinese people? They earn very little. I saw a movie once called People's Republic of Capitalists. These girls, well, they not very little, they earn $700. But now, what China wants is, in the old days in Cambodia and China, when these girls earn all this money, they save it in the bank, and that's why China has these surpluses. But now China wants to move the domestic consumer market to become the engine of growth, so that these textile workers who now earn $700 would like to spend on consumer goods. The other thing is